Hiya, today I'm going to be talking about why exactly I have a second brain. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Elizabeth. I'm a medical student and an artist living in London, and I am a consumer of a lot of information. Through my university degree, books that I try to read on the side, and other courses that I like to do, I feel as though I am in a constant state of forgetting things. This was all until I created my second brain. This is a term which I love, coined by Tiago Forte. It's basically a glorified information management / note-taking system. Honestly, it is one of the best things I have done in my life. I wish I could give this speech to myself 5 years ago. It would absolutely have changed things for me completely. My second brain is basically a highly organized collection of everything that I consume, which is all explained, categorized, and connected with one another. In this way, I have a much more intelligent, easily accessible, and organized version of myself, which I can access whenever I feel the need to work on something or even just for fun. In this video, I will explain 6 reasons why I believe that being very intentional with your note-taking and information management is absolutely critical. So let's get straight into it. The first reason is investing in your future memory. I am a firm believer that it is my own personal responsibility to set my future self up for as much success, happiness, and joy as possible. So I am very often working with my future self in mind. I recognize that my future self may have projects and may also be quite lazy and procrastinating when she has to do them. So I prepare a system with a huge backlog for her so that she is never starting from a blank page, but always has highly processed information. The next reason is information overload. In building a second brain, Tiago put up a slide where he showed that the average person consumes the equivalent of 174 newspapers of information a day. And this is the average person. If you're watching this video, which means you're probably similar to me, we're consuming maybe double or triple this amount. And therefore, this is what makes me think that maybe I don't have a very bad memory, but it's just impossible for me to keep up with everything that is being thrown at me all the time. In a similar way that I will summarize my lectures into 1 or 2 lines to be able to remember at the very least just that, I will do the same thing with whole books or chapters of a book or even a sentence in a book that I find is very, very important, and I will add this to my notes. The next reason is the view that you are the average of the 5 projects that you are spending the most of your time on. I love this because when I was younger, my parents would always tell me that I was the average of the 5 people that I spent the most of my time with. Even though as adults, we can be quite intentional to some extent with the people that we surround ourselves, I don't think that we can exactly do the same thing when it comes to information. For example, even Googling things will show up different results for different people. We are really at the mercy of algorithms on YouTube, for example, or on Instagram feed. I have very little control as to what information I am being exposed to. However, when it comes to the things that I am spending hours or even weeks or days considering and processing in my second brain, these are things that I can choose by myself and be very intentional about. I try to make these things that are highly intellectually stimulating or very inspiring, or things that I am passionate about, and especially things that I hope one day will also be helpful to other people and that I can share and improve more people's lives with. So you can choose whatever these values are for you and be a lot more intentional with them in your second brain than you are in just consuming information from everywhere. The next reason is that sometimes I will be exposed to things which in the moment I don't really feel like paying attention to, but which I know will be very important in the future. Or the opposite of this. For example, I've always been very passionate about art, but because I thought that I couldn't see how it would fit into my life as a doctor, I kind of ignored taking notes on art for a very large part of my life, which now I regret so much because I finally have been given a platform where I can talk about things that I was passionate in, and if only I had more notes on art, that process would have been a lot easier. So I would say you never really know where your life goes, and if you're very passionate about something, chances are, consciously or subconsciously, you are creating situations wherein in the future you will be able to do that thing. This has definitely been the case for me. So I feel as though we should not trust our energy levels and situation right now, but rather we should trust our passions. If something makes me really excited, I will make note of it regardless of what topic it is on, because chances are I will be needing it in the future. The next idea is that brains are for making connections and not storing information. This is something that has been revolutionary for me. I feel as though when I started medicine, I was paying so much attention to focusing on very, very small details. I feel as though I did not have a strong command of the bigger picture. And I think this bigger picture thinking is much more valuable. As humans, I don't think we're very good at memorizing large amounts of information. And because I have a second brain where all those details are stored in, I don't really need to care that much because I know that they exist and I know where to find them. So my brain is emptied and free to rather come up with creative things and to make connections between them and to look them up when I need those things to be done. My last point, and perhaps the most important one, is that building a second brain is a system that gets better the more you fail. Let me explain this a bit. I always used to be a huge fan of creating very detailed systems about things. And recently, I have started accounting for those systems failing because that is absolutely guaranteed. I know for sure that there will be times where I am lazy and tired and procrastinating and not sticking to my schedules. So now my schedules are optimized for my lazy version rather than my productive version of myself. In the end of the day, I think enjoying what you do is the most important thing. So honestly, I want to feel as good when I am lounging about doing nothing and avoiding my work as when I am actually doing the work. This is how I create systems in my life. I will definitely go into a lot more detail about this in explaining how my second brain works. But basically, if I capture something before I block it into its categories, the longer I leave it as a draft, be this a day, a week, 6 months, the longer my brain will have to subconsciously simmer on that concept. And I find that when I come back to categorizing my drafts from months and months ago, I've created a lot more novel connections in my notes rather than the ones that I thought initially I would put them in on the very first day. So this is a system that gets better the lazier you are, which for me is absolutely brilliant. These are my reasons why, as a professional in the modern world, because I am consuming so much information, I need to be equally, or if not more, careful, intentional, and organized about what I do with everything that I consume. And I have found that building a second brain has been honestly the most life-changing, satisfying, and brilliant things that I've ever done in regards to information processing in my life. I'm honestly very, very excited to share more details around this. My system is in Notion, but I'm sure that it can be done on many different platforms. If you made it so far, that's great. You are definitely my type of person. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Be kind to yourself and others, and don't believe everything you think. Thanks. Bye.